Hey guys, it's Sharon from Digital Nomad Quest, and today we're going to go over what is the BRRRR strategy and why a lot of real estate investors use it to build their wealth quickly. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. I'm all about teaching y'all how to build passive income, become financially free, and design your best lives. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified of my latest videos. So the BRRRR strategy does take work, but it really does help you build your net worth quickly. It basically uses the equity from one property to fund your next property, and then the next one, and then the next one. And that's going to basically help you have a bunch of cash flowing properties and boost your net worth. I know I've been talking about buying rental properties a lot on this channel, but I know that it can take a lot of time to save up that money to put that down payment in and then spend that money on closing costs. That amount of money takes time to build up. And then after you bought that first one, it's going to take you a long time to save up again to buy that next one, and then the next one, and then the next one, right? It takes time to do that. What if you can shorten that time frame? So that's what we're going to talk about today. A lot of investors are tapping into the equity of their homes by doing what is called a cash out refinance, and we're going to go over what that means later. First off, BRRRR means buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. The idea is you're going to buy a cash flowing rental property, and then you're going to rehab it where you're going to fix it up and bring up that value, and then you're going to rent it out to tenants. After a certain period of time, you're going to do a cash out refinance and take some money out, and then you're going to repeat the process and buy another property. That way you don't need to use a bunch of your own cash. You're basically recycling borrowed money. If you're still confused, don't worry, we're going to do a step-by-step breakdown of each letter, and then we're going to do an actual example. Okay, so first letter in BRRRR is B, and B stands for buy. So when it comes to buying a rental property, you want to make sure that you're buying one that can cash flow. Now, if you don't know how to analyze property deals, you can check out my video on how to analyze buy and hold property deals, and we go over step by step how to check if the numbers make sense to see if a rental property can cash flow. So what I mean by that is when you're getting your rental income for that property, is it going to be able to cover all the different expenses and make you money? These are the things you're going to want to look out for. But also when you're buying this property, you want to make sure you're able to finance it, and that can be in a number of ways. It could be through cash, it could be through conventional loan, it could be through seller financing and other means. I'm not going to go into it in this video, but you want to make sure you have that in place. Now let's say you did put in a 20% down payment for a conventional loan. With this BRRRR strategy, you want to make sure that your after repair value is a good amount where you can cash out refinance and pull out more money. So in order to do this, you usually need to look for a cheaper property that needs some work so you can fix it up and improve the price. And if you're just a beginner, you don't want to buy a complete fixer-upper where you don't know what to do. So I recommend you having some experience before you buying something like that where it's a complete mess and you need to do an entire rehab of the entire project. Number 2 is rehab. Rehabbing a property is one of the best ways to add equity to a property. You're finding a property that is in need of repair and you're making it up to livable condition and seeing what else will increase the value of the property. And that basically forces appreciation, which will cause the property value to increase. So that's what a lot of flippers do, right? They will find distressed properties and they're going to fix it up, and then that increases the value of the property so that they can sell that property at a profit. One of the properties I purchased, I mentioned it before, I purchased a property at $23,000. I ended up spending $33,000 fixing up that property, but now the after repair value is probably between $80,000 to $100,000. So in that case, I could flip it where I could make a huge profit, but I could also do this BRRRR strategy if I really wanted to. But let me get into those details later. This example is just to show you that if you are putting in those necessary repairs, you can increase the value of the property. Next step is rent. So you're going to want to rent out the property because banks usually like to see the property occupied to refinance the property if you're going to do that. So like I mentioned before, you want to find a property that will cash flow after all the expenses, after the mortgage, the property management fees, the insurance, the property taxes, possible repairs and vacancies and stuff like that. You want to make sure it'll cash flow. Now for the fun part, we're going to refinance the property. So there's usually a 6-month period for a seasoning period where you got to wait that long in order to refinance the property afterwards. So make sure you're waiting 6 months to a year before you refinance. So you can't just fix up a property and then right away try to refinance it. You want to make sure that you're waiting a 6 months to possibly a year period before you do that cash out refinance. So let's go over some numbers. Let's say you bought a property at $100,000 and then you put a $20,000 down payment on the the property, which is 20%. That means you're getting an $80,000 loan because the difference between 100 and 20 is 80,000, which is the amount you're borrowing. Renovations might be $15,000. This is just an example. Now you've got $35,000 into the property, right? You got the $20,000 down payment plus the renovations of $15,000, which equals $35,000. Now, after all your repairs, after you're making sure it is rent ready and also doing little cosmetic changes to make sure it looks really good, you're increasing the value of the property. Let's say you've now increased it to $150,000 for the value. Now, if you cash out refinance, you're basically paying off your existing mortgage loan and then replacing it with a new mortgage loan. And that new loan is going to be more than the amount you owe currently for that house. But that difference in amount is going to go to your pockets and you can use that to buy another property. Your cash out refinance is usually limited to 80% of the home equity. So in this example, 80% of $150,000, which is the new value of the home, is $120,000. With that $120,000, you'll pay off the previous loan of $80,000. And then now you'll have the difference of $40,000. That $40,000 actually goes to your pocket, and then your new loan is going to be $120,000 on that house. But also make sure to remember that there are closing costs when you do refinance the property, and that's usually going to be 2 to 5% of the mortgage for those closing costs. So the last step is repeat. Now that you've gotten that $40,000 pulled out back from that home, you can use that to buy another property. And then if you do that process again, you're going to be able to do another property and another property. And that's how a lot of these investors are scaling up their portfolios and getting a lot more properties without using that much of their own money. So again, instead of using a lot of your own cash, you're going to use a lot of borrowed money instead. So this BRRRR strategy makes it so you can increase your net worth really quickly by doing this process over and over again. Instead of just saving money and just watching it slowly grow in the bank account, right? You can put it into real estate investments and then use the power of leverage and pulling money back out to buy more and more properties. Now, I do want to put in kind of a disclaimer about some of the flaws I feel of the BRRRR strategy. Like, one of the things you want to consider is that every time you are pulling out more cash and then getting a bigger loan, your cash flow on those properties are going to decrease because you're getting a bigger mortgage on those properties. So you want to make sure that you're still getting decent cash flow on those properties as well. Also, you want to make sure that you're comfortable with your debt. You want to make sure that you can sleep well at night knowing that you are increasing the amount of debt you get as you get more of these properties. So I would say make sure you're not over leveraging. Make sure you're not losing sleep over the amount of debt you are creating for yourself, because every time you're doing this, you're borrowing a ton of money, right? You're not using a bunch of your own cash. And then also, like I mentioned before, you want to make sure that you consider closing costs when you're refinancing. It's not completely free when you're getting cash back out. You usually have to pay about 2 to 5% in the mortgage for closing costs. So make sure that when you're doing this, you are still getting a good amount of cash back when you're cash out refinancing, and that you are cash flowing on each of those properties. Again, besides those concerns, it's still an amazing way to speed up your net worth growth. Just make sure to watch out for these concerns. So I currently haven't been cash out refinancing any of my properties yet because I haven't had a need to. I've been able to purchase new properties. I'm purchasing affordable properties because I'm investing out of state. For example, I bought one property all cash and I bought 2 others all cash with my boyfriend. And there is a possibility like I could cash out refinance, but I actually don't want to get another loan for those because they're purchased free and clear. So that's currently where my mind is now. I like the amount of cash flow I'm getting from those properties. But in the future, who knows? We'll see if I want to BRRRR or do anything else with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown of what the BRRRR strategy is. I hope that makes sense. And let me know in the comments below if that's something you're going to try to do, if you're going to use a BRRRR strategy, or if you want to just do all your own cash or things like that. Let me know how you feel about the BRRRR strategy. Smash the like button if you like this video, subscribe, hit the bell button to be notified of my latest videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.